don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of who the best young up-and-coming coaches are in European football. I just don't. You may well remember a little while ago, probably around January, when David Moyes' job was potentially under threat. There were a list of names that were given to us. We covered it in detail on this channel. And the names that were suggested were people like Rafa Benitez. I'm not sure if Sean Dyche had already taken over at Everton then, but it was Sean Dyche. It was, you know, the type of people I mean. The established sort of Premier League managers. And then we sort of heard that nobody would be considered to replace David Moyes unless they had Premier League experience. And I said at the time, this is unduly restrictive. I mean, there's no way that Brighton would have gone and got De Zerbi or somebody like that if they'd have had such sort of strict parameters in their managerial recruitment. But I said at the time, even if the board don't know, even if David Sullivan doesn't know who the hottest properties are in European football, that's what your sporting director does. That's why it's important to bring someone in who does know about that stuff, rather than just relying on the same old. So with that in mind, I guess I was not particularly surprised to see us linked with Paulo Fonseca again. And when I say again, we were linked with him a long time ago. It was when it was maybe suggested we might be getting rid of Pellegrini. He was one of the names that was bandied about. I think he was at Shakhtar Donetsk at the time. So he's already been in and around the news and linked with West Ham. He's been linked yesterday again with West Ham. And sometimes rumours, I just believe them. Sometimes I have a little whiff of truth about them. One of the reasons is that I've heard him over a long period of time linked with West Ham. I've heard it from numerous sources, and I do believe that for some reason the owners like him. So what I've done is I've gone and had a look myself, just for my own curiosity, because I don't know about these things. It's also worth pointing out that yesterday Fonseca said that he quite liked the West Ham job. I paraphrase, that's more or less what he said. Now, if you were to do a Google search on this guy, the first thing that would come up, one of the first things would be serial winner. Won 9 trophies in 12 years, which up front sounds really, really impressive, doesn't it? However, if you scratch beneath the surface, and I'll go into that in just a second, it ain't quite so impressive. So I do wonder where this name has come from. Now, it was suggested at one point or another that Fonseca might be a candidate for the Tottenham job. I can't see that would have been the case. Look at who they have recruited in recent times, and it's not people like this. In fact, Fonseca had the job at Roma, and they were so unimpressed, they actually replaced him with Jose Mourinho, who then went on to win a trophy. So his record isn't that great, although, as I say, on the surface, 9 trophies looks absolutely fantastic. The truth of the matter is, he's never won a trophy in a major league. And by that, I mean obviously England, I mean Germany, I mean Italy, I mean Spain, and he's in France. Is France a major league? I'm not so sure, but let's say it is. Not in any of those he won a trophy. In fact, the only trophies he has won have been at Shakhtar, and well, he's won 2 trophies. He's not even won the league in Portugal. He's a Portuguese coach. He won the Portuguese Cup with Braga, which I think is his best achievement because they're not one of the big boys in Portugal. And with Porto, he won the Portuguese Super Cup. I don't know what difference. Maybe one of them was like the FA Cup, maybe one of them was like the League Cup. It's like he even won the league with Porto. And I can't help but think maybe somebody has got into the ownership's ear, and maybe they believe that this is like the hottest young coaching property in Europe, because this is what we're hearing. But the propaganda, if you like, doesn't really match what he's done. He won numerous trophies, 3 Ukrainian championships. And I'm not to demean that. I'm not saying that he is absolutely useless. But I do think we have a tendency to undersell West Ham. West Ham are a big club. West Ham have got 60,000, and 60,000 seat stadium, whatever you want to call it, whether you think that's a good or a bad thing, it doesn't matter. This is how it's going to be perceived from the outside looking in. West Ham have a really good transfer budget. We certainly did last season. We've had back-to-back European football campaigns. We can probably attract some pretty good managers. Okay, granted, the top ones we probably can't. Can we attract Pep Guardiola? Probably not. Ancelotti? Probably not. There's probably 10 odd managers that we can't attract. Aside from that, I think we're probably up there. Because once you go past those clubs that are guaranteed European football, and like the likes of Man City, the likes of Juventus and Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain and you know Bayern Munich, they roll off the tongue, those clubs, don't they? Once you get past those, I believe we're a candidate. So I think we probably should be going for the best young up-and-coming talent. I certainly think we should disregard any thoughts of going back for Rafa Benitez. He's yesterday's business. He really is. So why are we looking at this guy? Why are we seriously looking at this guy? And in all honesty, I just can't see it. Roma's a really good example. So I'll do Roma and then we'll get on to France, which is where he's playing at the moment. At Roma... Roma found themselves in a situation where they weren't qualifying for Champions League anymore. They were in 6th. So they got rid of their manager before. Don't know who it was. As I said, I didn't know this information until yesterday. I've gone and found it out because I wanted to know who this guy is. Is he really one of the best up-and-coming managers in European football? He's a bit of a journeyman as far as I can see. I'm not saying he's useless, but he's not excellent. Went to Roma. He managed to get Roma from 6th into 5th in his first season. So he did okay, but it wasn't really what they wanted. The next season, they dropped down again. And they got rid of him. They didn't renew his contract. And that's when they hired Mourinho. Is he doing okay in France at the moment? Yes, he's doing okay. He's doing okay. They might, Lille, as who he plays for, who he manages, they might qualify for the Conference League. They might not. I think they're in 5th. 5th and 6th, pretty close. One win in it, basically. But he's certainly not going to be getting them into the Champions League. He's not troubling the best teams. He's certainly not troubling Paris Saint-Germain. Certainly won't finish above Marseille. What he's certainly not is the best of the rest in France. He's not. The whole of France aren't looking at him thinking, "Wow, this guy's absolutely brilliant." Just in the same way that the whole of Serie A weren't looking at him thinking, "Wow, this guy's brilliant." If they were, and if he was that impressive, they would have signed him up. I think this is he's an average to decent manager, is what I think he is. I don't read too much. I read a lot of stuff on there about his system. He plays 3-4-3, sometimes plays 4 at the back, mostly 3-4-3. He's got a pretty poor defensive record. Not that I'm overly concerned. That stuff doesn't concern me. I wouldn't care. I don't care. You let him 4 goals. If you score 5, it doesn't really matter. And the more I looked at it, the more I was just seeing average stuff. And when you look at, as I say, 9 trophies, 7 of them were in Ukraine. 7 Ukrainian Cups. Sorry, 3 Ukrainian Cups, 3 Ukrainian Leagues, 1 Ukrainian Super Cup. And then a couple of cups in Portuguese football. None in Italy. None in France. I do worry a little bit. This is why I worry, because sometimes, like the Agurd rumour. The Agurd rumour went on for so long you thought there's something in this, and you know what? It happened. Not everything is an Idager Johnson. I use that because we were always linked to him and we never actually signed him. It was the same with Areola. Areola was being linked to us all the time. You thought, okay, there is some truth in it. Once you start getting it from multiple sources, you think maybe they are looking. And when you hear from the club, little rumours, little snippets, little leaks that maybe there's something in this. When you hear little leaks, little snippets from agents as well, I think maybe there's something in it. Then when the manager himself, Fonseca, openly speaks about it and says, I would be interested in the West Ham job, you start to worry about it. You really do. And I just think if we do it, it could be an opportunity missed. Now, don't get me wrong, I would love to be wrong. I'd love that we employ him and he turns out and he's brilliant. He gets us European football and we're playing a more attractive, expansive game. That would be absolutely brilliant. We look back on this video and we can laugh about it. How wrong did you get that, Gonzo? That would be absolutely great. However, at this point in time, and here's exactly my point, not with the benefit of hindsight, at this point in time, I'm not seeing an exceptional CV. I'm seeing a CV that has been built up in the less prestigious and the lower leagues. And I don't mean that. There's no really easy way to say that without being insulting, particularly to the Portuguese league, which do have some good teams. But if he was that good, why didn't he win the league title in Portugal? He's not, because he is not the outstanding manager and wasn't the outstanding manager in that league. Anyway, I'll be interested to know what you think. I didn't know anything about him at all, and I honestly went into it with a completely open mind. Let's find out. Let's find out about this Fonseca. And from what I can see, average to good. That's it.